Please be advised, North Frontenac Council meetings are recorded. By attending a public meeting of council, you are consenting to your image, voice, and comments being recorded. Members of council, staff, delegates, and attendees are advised that they may be subject to legal action if their actions result in inappropriate and or unacceptable behavior or comments. We begin this gathering by acknowledging and celebrating these traditional lands as a gathering place of the first peoples and their ancestors who are entrusted to care for Mother Earth since time immemorial. We do so respecting both the land and the indigenous peoples who continue to walk with us through this world. Today, the Township of North Frontenac is committed to working with indigenous peoples and all residents to pursue a united path of reconciliation. That will take us into the approval of the agenda. Before we start, though, I'll be leaving at the end of the main meeting, and I'll turn the closed meeting session over to Deputy Mayor Hooley. So,
moved by Councillor Good, seconded by Councillor Page. Be it resolved that council approves the agenda dated May 1st, 2026 as circulated.
comments? In favor? Carried. Any disclosure pecuniary interest and general nature thereof? Seeing none, we have no business profiles. Presentations, we have Richard Allen and Emma Stuckey from County of Frontenac here. The floor is yours, folks.
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Council, for having us for our annual update on economic development activities. So we've distributed to all of you a copy of the Frontenac Economic Development Annual Report for 2025, as well as the K&P Trail Annual Report for 2025. Before I dive into walking you through these documents, just wanted to also introduce you all to Emma. Emma joined our team earlier this year, a couple months ago. We've thrown her headlong into a number of tourism-related initiatives. She comes to us with a master's in economic development from the University of Waterloo, and she's a registered planner as well. So she has a good understanding of rural economic development, having worked in Leeds and Thousand Islands and worked in the private sector as well before moving to Cataraqui Conservation and joining us. So we're really happy to have her here. Debbie would also be here if possible, but unfortunately, Debbie is away from the office for a couple of weeks and won't be able to join us for the presentation today. So to dive into the economic development document, I'll just quickly take you through a few pieces that I wanted to point out. We start off with a bit of information about the community, about building permits. We include the building permits mostly as a sign of like the economy. So if there's a fair number of building permits taking place, we know that there's a lot of economic activity taking place in the region. And while they've dropped a bit recently, that's probably a sign of inflation more than anything else. I think they've probably stabilized to higher levels than we had pre-pandemic. If you go to page 6, we outlined the Charter for Economic Development. That was approved in 2024, and that is how we organize our activities and priorities in the Economic Development Department under tourism, housing, food and beverage, and economic infrastructure. So looking at tourism, which is an important element for destination development across Frontenac County, we've done a number of pieces in terms of marketing, especially our award-winning This is Frontenac video. Can't play the video for you because it's on this is a paper document, but we did play it for you when we were here last year, and so hopefully you still have fond memories. It makes the rounds on social media every couple months. We also engage in partnerships with the regional tourism organizations for marketing itineraries around cycling, around trails, and around a program called Ride the Highlands. We've heard positive remarks about all of those programs, especially here in North Frontenac. One of the big initiatives that we've been doing in partnership with Ontario's Highlands, which is the regional tourism organization that serves this part of Frontenac County, is the Eastern Ontario Rail Trail Loop. And I'll talk a bit more about that when we go into the when we go into the KMP Trail annual report. We also conduct photo shoots on a regular basis to make sure we're capturing the activities and businesses and experiences across Frontenac County to put into our marketing materials that are shared on social media and other campaigns that we engage in. When we move on to economic infrastructure, which starts on page 13, we start with the business retreat. This is something we started post-pandemic as a way to kind of rebuild camaraderie and excitement in our business community. People were feeling disconnected. Businesses are unhappy and kind of really negative in general, just based on things. And to be honest, conditions haven't improved that much for businesses, but what we're really focused on is building relationships through this event. We don't bring technology to that event. We don't have PowerPoints. We say if you're going to have a PowerPoint, it could be a Zoom meeting. And so we get together and have a lot of face-to-face conversations with the businesses. So we had 51 people attend from across Frontenac County, from up here in North Frontenac to the Frontenac Islands. They'll attend the event in Parham. It's a day-long event. And we tend to try to include options for folks to learn something while they're there, as well as network and meet. And so that's outlined on page 14. We also we used to do the business awards at the same time at the same event, and what we've done is separated it because it made for quite a long day for everyone. And that was quite successful. We held the business awards in November at Piccadilly Hall, and the warden at the time, who is your mayor, came and presented the awards to the businesses who won. We open the nomination period in the late summer, and it's usually open from mid-August to the end of September, and then we present the awards at the event in November to the recipients. So last year, the Kick and Push Brewery, Rampant Kitchen, Rise Farm, Parallel Studios, and Back to Health were some of our award winners. And so we've seen a great success in that event and a lot of support for connecting with businesses through that. And again, another way to celebrate our businesses and our business success as it takes place. We also every month are out with the Frontenac Business Services doing business visits. We rotate through the township, so we try to go see visits all in one township at a time. And if any businesses that you're speaking with want to see a visit from Frontenac Economic Development, just reach out to us and we'll put them on the list and we'll connect with them as well. A couple other things that we've done to support businesses is host networking events. We hosted one at Myers Cave Resort earlier in the year last year. We also then brought media and visitor-facing services from the city of Kingston over to Wolfe Island so that folks would be able to know how to talk about using the ferry, how to encourage visitors to go over there. The ferry disruptions that have happened down there have made it very difficult for visitors and day visitors to walk over the past 5-6 years, and we're looking to help support that recovery by making those connections. A big piece of our economic infrastructure that we've been working on in the past year is healthcare in our community, and we have a spread on page 20 and 21 about that. Every township, every community has a different situation and connection to the healthcare in the community, but what we do know is it's an important piece in attracting residents and supporting our community is to keep our clinics and keep our healthcare services local. And County Council has been an incredible champion on that, and Debbie, who isn't here, spends a lot of time navigating the complex universe of provincial healthcare and supporting our clinics in their succession planning. We also do a lot around, so in the other pillar of food and beverage, Open Farms has been maybe our flagship product where we celebrate local food and local farms on a regular basis. Last year was the last year we're going to focus on that weekend event. We're going to take the principles of Open Farms to more of a year-round approach to supporting farmers markets, supporting our food and beverage producers, finding other ways to connect them to eaters and consumers of their products so that we're not just putting all of our time into hosting one event. The number of farms have dwindled over the years because they've either maximized their benefit from the event or determined it's a lot of work for one weekend. And so we're looking to other pieces. We also support Frontenac Municipal Services when we move into the housing pillar, and we're looking at ways to strengthen how we encourage multiple forms of housing, multiple housing options in the region. It's a relatively new piece for us, and it's not something we could dive into too deeply when there was just two of us. But now we have Emma, and Emma's going, with her planning background, is going to play a great role in supporting us with working with contractors and developers and finding ways to connect them to Frontenac Municipal Services and other housing options and opportunities in our region. That's a run through of the bigger book, and I'll take you through this book, and then I'll take any questions. The KMP Trail Annual Report is a little shorter. Last year, we were able to get out with our summer student and do a survey on the trail. And so you can see the trail data associated with that survey on page 4. I think a few notable pieces, well, those are the visitor accounts, and then what we heard is on page 5 and page 6 and 7. So what we have on page 4 are count data. We have 11 counters spread out throughout our trail season, and you can see that early in the season we see significant trail use in February. This year, I think we'll see even more significant winter use as we finally had a real winter, I would say, after a few years of having difficult time keeping snow on the ground and on our trails. And then I think what's interesting is the distance people travel to get to the trail. So if you look at the bottom right-hand corner of the page 4, you can see that 15% of folks come from over 100 kilometers away. We want to grow that number. That's a good economic indicator for us to see that people are coming here, buying gas, buying fuel, buying food, using accommodations. But 50% use the KMP Trail, 52% in under 20 kilometers. And so it's very popular with our local community as well. When we look at the economic impact, on page 7 and page 8, you can see the average spend per visit that was reported in the survey and how we translate that to economic impact on page 8. We also can see what folks are looking for when they're out on their trail experiences: more food and beverage options, more washroom opportunities. There's always a need to heed the call of nature, and so we to make that easier and safer for people, that's an important thing to consider, as well as benches and rest areas being another piece to look at. So those are things we'll be looking at and bringing to County Council in the future. We featured the LNA Ridge Runner Snowmobile Club last year in 2025, and likely will feature the Snow Road Snowmobile Club in 2026. We're kind of working through our regular partners. The LNA Ridge Runners serve the trail south of Titchburn, and the Snow Road service the trail north of Titchburn. We would not be able to run the trail in the winter without the support of the snowmobile clubs. They do all of their volunteers, all the grooming and maintenance and monitoring. They certainly have been incredible partners when it gets to other projects when it comes to infrastructure. When we look at page 10 and 11, we're talking about the Eastern Ontario Rail Trail Loop. This project is just about 2 years old now. We're working with the counties of Lanark and Renfrew, the Ontario's Highlands Tourism Association, Cataraqui Conservation, the town of Smiths Falls, the Township of Rideau Lakes, just to name a few of the partners that are located along this loop. We see this as an incredible product that will attract cyclists from not just across Ontario, but from across North America and probably the world to our region to experience the unique offerings in Eastern Ontario. And our collaborative efforts to market and develop these trails that are all connected are really unheard of in other places. And so it's a really exciting partnership to grow. Speaking of partnerships, we've worked closely with the township and with the Snow Road Snowmobile Club and the Frontenac ATV Club when it comes to the Antoine Creek Bridge replacement. So that's in Snow Road Station. There is a part of the trail that was missing a bridge, and we wanted to be able to put that bridge in place as quickly as possible so that we could get the snowmobiles off of the multiple crossings that they were taking of Road 509 between Snow Road Station and the K&B Trail north towards Wilbur. We wanted to, and so by putting that bridge in place and working closely with the Ontario Federation of Snowmobile Clubs and the local, our local snowmobile club, we were able to do a quick and affordable bridge replacement, and we saw a lot more traffic through the region and through North Frontenac this winter as a result of that. We can't open that section of the trail this summer because we still have surface upgrades that we need to make before we can allow ATVs or bicycles through there. But we plan to make those surface upgrades later this year, pending some confirmation of some grants. Finally, a big piece of the economic development associated with trails is on the last page here. The rides and events hosted by local clubs, local groups, are a big piece of what drives business to our local communities. You can see that we've outlined 10 rides here. That's not all of the rides that have been coordinated in 2025, but I thought they were the most meaningful ones to share. Most of those 10, 9 of them are ATV Club organized rides. The Frontenac ATV Club has something close to 700 members that are very active, very excited to come ride our trails and tour through our region. And then we have a Kick and Push Century bicycle ride, which is a 100-kilometer bicycle ride based out of Sharbot Lake. They come up towards North Frontenac and head back down to Sharbot Lake for the event. That's the summary of both of those reports. I'm happy to take any questions associated with these reports and the overview that we've provided. And obviously, if there's anything that you want us to come back and provide a deep dive on, we're happy to do that as well.
Anyone have any questions or comments? Councilor Hayes?
Thank you, Richard, Emma. Very good, well-prepared report. Is there a way to get this? Is it online that we can share it with the public?
We haven't got it on our website yet, but I can probably do that by the end of the day today.
Okay, thank you.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Richard. Great report. Welcome, Emma. Just one quick question. Signs on the K&B Trail, where are we on that? Specifically, you know what I'm talking about, although they're up to Wilbur.
We're just coordinating production, and there'll be some of what you've looked for along Snow Road Station in the spring, and there'll be more in the fall.
Councilor Good?
Yes, thanks, Richard, for the presentation. I just wondered, is the county considering any incentives for doctor recruitment?
At the moment, we aren't having any discussion around financial incentives for doctor recruitment. It's something that I think personally, I feel it would be a losing game because everyone just keeps increasing what their incentives are when you look across the region. What we're doing in terms of incentives is trying to lay out the community incentives of working in our clinics. And one of the big pieces that we're doing when it comes to healthcare is ensuring that our clinics are attractive places to work, that are structured in a way that doctors that are coming from medical school or other places are interested in working. So there's been a big shift in Ontario clinic structures recently where there's been where the doctors show up more like employees, where most of our clinics are physician-led businesses, where they're essentially their own business operators. And so new doctors are less interested in working in that older model, and they're more interested in that newer model. So we're having those discussions about whether or not we should be pursuing that. So that's part of the incentive process. But when it comes to money, the incentives that are being put on the table are significant. When it comes to northern clinics, Those incentives are provided by the province. But when it comes to the southern clinics, we're sort of working on other value propositions instead of cash.
Yeah, I don't think that, I know some of the bigger centers, doing the, like $100,000 incentives and that. For the smaller centers like us, like we don't offer that much money, but we do have doctors, doing, look around, you find ratio strategies. That, it can be a lot less and still be an incentive to have doctors come to rural areas that want to work in rural areas, not just the cities.
Yes, if I may, through you, your worship, we toured a doctor from the States recently, of our clinics, and they really resonated the way our clinics run, the lifestyle here in Frontenac County, and that has a lot to say about like when they're thinking about where they want to go in the future. And so I think we have a lot to offer that isn't in someone's wallet.
Councilor Fowler?
Thanks for the presentation. Welcome, Emma. When you're doing the counts on the trail, is that done by a mechanical type counter?
That's correct. Our counters are, they use a infrared beam to track when somebody goes by them. And then we have loops in the ground that determine if it's a bicycle or a motorized vehicle.
How about a deer or a moose or a bear or just a?
Yes, all the deer and moose and bears are considered pedestrians.
I want to go back to Councilor Good's questions. Sorry, go ahead, Fred.
Just had another question regarding the KMP north of or beyond 509. If we have any idea when that's going to start, or if it has.
So our plan is to develop the KMP from Snow Road Station towards Wilbur later this year in the fall, when nesting seasons are over and trail season is winding down. So you'll start to see communications around that over the course of the summer.
Okay, thank you. I want to go back to what Councilor Good was talking about, because the County of Frontenac does have a fund, $22,000 every year we put aside for aiding in doctor recruitment. And that seems to be held tighter than bark is to a tree. We did allocate $17,500 to Wolf Island, which is Frontenac Islands, for a one-year pilot project with a nurse practitioner. When we get to the item on the agenda about doctor recruitment, I intend to modify the agenda to ask for some of that money. Okay, I mean, it's sitting there, we're paying for it. Why shouldn't we see if we can access it? So it's coming. Just give me 5 minutes. And Emma, good school. The other thing, Richard, is when you did this presentation, you neglected to manage or to mention those two good-looking guys, or those, I don't know, the good-looking guy on the first page or the third page. Careful now you answer that.
Next time I'll make sure to point you and Joe out for everyone to see. It was a pleasure working with you as a warden and having a North Frontenac representative come join us at events throughout the county to celebrate economic development and businesses here.
It was actually a pleasure to see so many opportunities, to see so many businesses, to see the way the county works with them and the way they can work with each other. It's a real pleasure to be in a community that's that proactive. So thank you for the opportunity. Anybody else have any final comments or questions? Thank you for coming, folks. We appreciate it. You're welcome to stay or.
Happy to be here. We'll stick around for a few agenda items.
Okay. Okay. Tara?
Moved by Councillor Hodge, seconded by Councillor Good. Be resolved that council receives the presentation from Richard Allen, Manager of Economic Development, and Emma Stuck, Community Development Officer, regarding the annual report for economic development and the update on the KMP Trail, and thanks them for their time spent today.
In favor? Carried. We have no delegations. That brings us to the adoption of minutes.
Moved by Counselor Good, second by Counselor Hodge. Be it resolved that council adopts the minutes as circulated of a public meeting of council dated April 10th, 2026, and a regular meeting of council dated April 10th, 2026.
Comments? In favor? Carried. We. So business horizons. Okay. Item 10, A, communication section, A.
Moved by Counselor Hodge, second by Counselor Good. Be it resolved that council receives for information Section A items of the clerk's administrative report entitled Communications of Interest.
Comments? In favor? Carried. Communications section B, Lakeland's Family Health Team Doctor Recruitment Incentive.
Moved by Counselor Good, seconded by Counselor Hodge. Be it resolved that council receives the request from the Lakelands Family Health Team dated April 23rd, 2026, and advising Dr. Masad Adusi, I apologize, has committed to joining the health team and requesting council approve a $15,000 per year position incentive for 5 years commencing September 1st, 2026. And that the council approves this request and that prior to September 1st, 2026, the medical service agreement be provided to council for consideration. And the council instructs the treasurer to take the money for the 2026 from medical service reserve fund, and the future expenses are to be included in the annual budget.
Okay, so I mentioned earlier that the county sets aside $22,000 a year for doctor recruitment. And we've been successful to the point of including the Lakeland Family Health Team in discussions and so on with the county and doctor recruitment and so on. It doesn't help that they are located in Addington Highlands. But we're going to try. Hopefully we'll try. So it's up to you. So I would like to amend the agenda to say the following. And whereas the Lakelands Family Health Team provides medical service to a significant portion of the residents of the Township of North Frontenac, and whereas the County of Frontenac acknowledges an ongoing commitment to healthcare recruitment and retention initiative as established through the county's budget 2024 to 2028 budget and business plan, including annual contributions toward primary care with Frontenac County. And whereas the Township of North Frontenac has committed $75,000 in municipal funding payable at $15,000 a year for 5 years towards supporting the retention of a much-needed doctor, be it resolved that the Township of North Frontenac requests the County of Frontenac to financially allocate funding in the amount of $15,000 payable at $3,000 per year over 5 years to support the recruitment and retention of the doctor to work with the Lakelands Family Healthcare Organization. So that's the request of the county, if you, I give first and second for that. I've got Vern and I've got second would be Wayne. And I'll give you this, Vern. Not comment about bark to a tree, that's just my personal opinion. They haven't spent any other than the stuff for Wolf Island, and I think it's worth the worthwhile fund, and we contribute to it, so. While Tara's doing that, are there any comments on, Fred, Counselor Fowler, sorry.
Yeah, the fact that we have to use the facility in Addington Highlands is that we do not have any doctors or offices or anything like that in North Frontenac. And going east, I know the guy has to go out of the county just to go to see a doctor as well. So on both sides, we have nothing in the middle.
Well, that's true. No, there are other options, but literally this clinic services, what, Plevna West? Maybe even a little bit east, and actually part of northern part of maybe central Frontenac as well, plus Addington Highlands. So this is a really worthwhile request. I don't know how it's going to be received. I really don't. We haven't talked to anybody, but if we put it forward as a council, then it has to go on the agenda.
Just a question for Janice. So,
Janice, could you come up and sit at the microphone, please? That way that people online can hear your responses. Thank you. Sorry, Count, or
The lady at the table is Jan Policy, is the Executive Director of the Lakelands Family Health Team.
Thanks, Ken. This question, so Dr. Weldon and now another doctor, are we even close or do we still need more doctors?
To be honest, I really think that we will be with Dr. Adewisi. We will probably be one of the first areas that will be able to provide care for anyone who wants it. So, I don't foresee requiring another doctor for some time. I think, Masood was really thrilled being here. And I can tell you, when I drove him by Buckshot Lake, I think he would have jumped out. They love the area. So he is really into rural. He really wants rural medicine. His father was a botanist. Loves it's country for him. Yeah, no, I don't think we'll require another doctor for a long time. The others aren't retiring yet.
That's good. Great news. And thank you very much for all the work that you've done to get doctors up there, and Buckshot Lake is beautiful. I should say that.
You live on it? Oh.
Mr. Herbert, your comment?
Well, I appreciate that. I will tell you that family health team has been on for my life for the last 15 years. It means the world to me.
Two doctors that you have arranged. Thank you so much.
Yes,
And you know, even though it is part of your life, you know, it's nice to have that.
and I will tell you, the new doctor already has his permanent residence. He already has his CPSO number. So all we have to do to bring him into our family health team is get his billing number, which I've already applied for, and I was told I would have within 15 days. And then I have the application form for him to get in the blended salary model, which will take a maximum of 8 weeks. So he is planning on being here for September 1st with a wife and 2 young children. And they are elated. His wife told him if he would be fine, she was.
Yes, I just want to thank you, Jen, for all the work you've done and on behalf of all of us in the community here as well, not just me, but everybody. Really appreciate all the work that you've done
Thank
over the
you.
years.
Thank you. He's been
And actually, Big Gull Lake is actually nicer than Buckshot.
Yes, just a little. Deputy Mayor.
The only thing we have to do, we have to find a men's soccer club that he can
Oh,
play.
yes,
soccer.
yes,
Yes, yes, and then he needs a French club. He wants to learn how to
yes.
continue with his.
He wants to learn French. Yes, he knew it years ago. And he is taking, I believe, an online course because he stayed where he stayed. I happened to walk in when he was online. Yeah.
You have a residence, yeah?
Pardon me?
Does he have a residence picked out or done where?
We're looking right now. He wants to rent for the first bit and he wants property. He wants to garden. And yeah, he wants to be a gardener.
Janet, just a comment. He may have a hard time understanding some of our languages.
Actually, he was very easy to understand. And the other thing that I will say about him is that he's a very kind, compassionate doctor. I got that from the time I spent with him.
So, please read that first.
Moved by Counselor Good, seconded by Counselor Hodge. Be it resolved, the council receives the request from the Lakelands Family Health Team dated April 23rd, 2026, advising Dr. Adewusi has committed to joining the health team and requesting council approve a $15,000 per year physician incentive for 5 years commencing September 1st, 2026, and that the council approves this request, and that prior to September 1st, 2026, the medical service agreement be provided to council for consideration. The council instructs the treasurer to take the money for 2026 from the medical services reserve fund, and the future expenses are to be included in the annual budget.
Any final comments?
Oh, sorry.
Is there any final comments? In favor of the resolution? Carried. Now the supplementary resolution.
Moved by Counselor Hermer, seconded by Counselor Good, whereas the Lakeland Family Health Team provides medical service to a significant portion of the residents of the Township of North Frontenac, and whereas the County of Frontenac acknowledges an ongoing commitment to healthcare and recruitment and retention initiatives as established through the county's 2024 to 2028 budget and business plan, including annual contributions towards primary care within Frontenac County. And whereas the Township of North Frontenac has committed $75,000 in municipal funding payable at $15,000 per year for 5 years towards supporting the retention of a much-needed doctor, therefore be resolved that the Township of North Frontenac requests the County of Frontenac to financially allocate funding in the amount of $15,000 payable at $3,000 per year over 5 years to support the recruitment and retention of a doctor to work with the Lakeland Family Health Care Organization.
Comment? Counselor Good?
They don't have to settle for 3, they could give us 5.
We could ask for 5.
Yeah.
I just thought, given the history of what's happened there, even the 17.5, 1 or 2 of the counselors weren't there and they made comments afterwards. So I'm figuring 3 is a pretty safe bet. I was going to ask for the all 15 in 1 year, but I figured 3,000 a year. If we're going to do it, that would be reasonable. So, in favor of the resolution? Carried. And Fred and I'll carry that at
Right.
council and we'll see if we can,
I just want to say thank you.
see if we can get Central Frontenac to support this as well. So, because it is some of their population, although they tend to be, Charlotte Lake oriented, but let's see what we can do. Okay, thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. Item 11A.
Moved by Counselor Hodge, seconded by Counselor Good. Be resolved that council receives for information the manager of community development and the manager of community planning, Frontenac County's administrative report entitled Planning Report, New Community Improvement Plan. And the council will consider a bylaw later in the meeting to adopt the 2026 Community Improvement Plan for the Township of North Frontenac.
Have any comments? In favor of the resolution? Carried. Okay. That takes us to 11B.
Moved by Counselor Hudel, moved by Deputy Mayor Hudel, seconded by Counselor Hermer. Be resolved the council receives for information the manager of community development's administrative report entitled 2026 to 2031 land use permit with the Ministry of the Environment, Conservation and Parks for the North Frontenac Parklands for Crotch Lake and Big Gull Lake. And the council approves the 2026 to 2031 land use permit for operation of the North Frontenac Parklands.
Comments? In favor? Carried. Item 11C, North Frontenac Fire Department Annual Report.
Moved by Counselor Hermer, seconded by Counselor Hudel. Be it resolved that council receives the Director of Emergency Services Fire Chief's administrative report entitled North Frontenac Fire Department Annual Report 2025 for information purposes.
Comments? You have a presentation?
I do. We do.
Keep me in suspense. Okay.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and public in attendance, in person and online. We will present you with a overview of our 2025 Fire Department Annual Report, and then take any questions at the end. So in 2025, firefighters responded to a total of 113 calls, with fire and rescue calls accounting for 54.87% of all incidents, and medical emergencies accounting for the remaining 45.13%. Beyond public education and emergency response, training remained a top priority in 2025. Collaborating with neighboring fire departments, our team saw members commit themselves to meet the province of Ontario's upcoming mandatory firefighter certification requirements set to take effect on July 1st, 2026. These rigorous certification courses can take up to 300+ hours of training and demand significant dedication. We commend all participants for their hard work and their achievements. In addition to certification efforts, several members successfully completed a full Red Cross First Responder 40-hour course, while all firefighters continued their regular weekly in-house training to ensure they remain skilled and prepared to fulfill their duties as outlined in our establishing and regulating bylaw. We were also privileged to host expert instructors who provided valuable trainings on topics such as vehicle extrication, lithium-ion battery safety, and propane emergency. North Frontenac Fire Department remains committed to ongoing training and continuous improvement, striving to provide the highest level of customer service to our community and residents. So following in line with the 3 lines of defense, fire prevention, and public education are at the top of the list. And so a highlight of the public education and the public engagement events that we did this year saw seniors and law enforcement together at Snow Road on January 24th. A Lookout Home Hardware event, which featured fire smart materials and public education on wildfires on May 10th. We attended the schoolyard plant sale on May 17th, meeting the teams in Cloyne in June. We hosted an AMPA open house to celebrate 50 years of the AMPA Fire Station in August. We attended the Essential Services Fair in August, school prevention presentation during Fire Prevention Week, and we participated in a 12 days of holiday safety social media campaign in line with the OFM. As well, we attended Winterfest and Summerfest, as you can see on the screen. So some administrative and communications, we saw 2 members receive long service awards. We had 1 significant retirement. We had a significant wildfire. We acquired a new pumper tanker. We did a firefighter recruitment, and we received funding for the fire protection grant as provided from the province of Ontario. The long service awards, Stan Sites received a service award, 45 years of service. Nicholas Ross received a long service award for 10 years service. And the retirement I spoke about was Stan Sites. He joined the department in 1980 and retired from the department in 2025. We celebrated Stan's retirement at our annual Christmas gathering in December, and Stan could not provide enough positive feedback on how excited he was with the presentation, with the vibe on the evening, and everything that went along with it. So he and his family were very appreciative. Wildfire response, it was a dry year in 2025, one of the driest on record. According to the MNR, that was the driest they've seen it that late in the season since they started recording data in terms of how deep into the ground things are dry. And we saw depths of 14 to 15 inches still hot to the touch on some of the fires we were on. So hopefully we get a little more precipitation this year and don't get into that situation again. But we did have some great takeaways during our after incident review to help us better prepare for things of that nature that were to occur. We had 9 wildfires occur in North Frontenac in 2025, with the one pictured on the screen. There's an aerial view from the helicopter being the largest, coming in at just under 50 hectares. Excited to announce there's no loss of life or property or any significant damage. We did evacuate residents in the localized area from Levant to Donaldson to Levant. We had MNR on scene for, I think, a total of 4 days. And we activated our mutual aid plan, which saw upwards of 7 fire departments participating in initial suppression efforts. and then providing us with support and personnel for, the 10-day span that the event went on. There's a picture of our new bumper tanker, during a training night, 2,500 gallon tank on board with a 4,000 liter a minute fire pump. So it's an excellent frontline pumper capable of wildfire suppression and anything really that we would throw at it. It's going to be a great unit. Firefighter recruitment, we did a open house in Snow Road on July 9th, where we had roughly 12 folks in attendance that evening. Provided them with an overview of the type of services we provide, some call statistics and data from the year previous. So they had a clear picture of what they were potentially volunteering for and becoming a part of. And as a result of that open house evening, we had 6 new recruits hired until by the end of 2025. And they are all now in service. They've been successfully onboarded, are in service, and have been responding to calls. Of one of those new recruits, one is a paramedic in Lanark County, and is in the Snow Road area. So that's very exciting for the folks up there. He's going to be a huge asset to the department. We received funding from the province of Ontario, upwards of $52,000 to go towards equipment and PPE for cancer prevention. So with that, in my application for the grant, I applied for technical rescue gear, which provides our folks with protection for medical calls, technical rescue calls, for auto extrication, for example, and then wildland firefighting as well. So it's a multi-purpose gear that will serve our folks for a long time. And then particulate filtering flash hoods, again, to help better keep the smoke and debris and things that we don't want inside of our folks out. Some fire department response data. So we'll cover total calls for service, talk about average response times, OFM summary of calls, a monthly summary breakdown, and then a 4-year call volume average. So fire medical calls for service, as I stated, 113 total calls in 2025. It was down from 2024. Medical calls comprised of 45.13%. Fire and rescue calls comprised of 54.87%. So within that fire and rescue category, we captured all of the calls that required boats for assisting OPP, boats for assisting ambulance, things of that nature. Average response times were up from the year previous, simply due to where the calls were in relation to the stations, how long it takes our folks to get to the stations from their home. And those are a major contributing factor to why we see the call response times that we do. We had a call in Govan Lake area last year that took us an hour and a half to get on scene because of weather, because of logistics. We do the best we can to get there as fast as we can in those stations. OFM summary of calls for 2025. So rescue calls, which include vehicle collision and other, 19, medical calls, 51, EO, 1, public hazards such as power lines arcing or down, 5, other response, 11, burning complaints were up last year from years previous, almost by 50% at 10, given the dry weather, that makes sense. False fire calls, 1, pre-fire conditions with no fire at the time of response, 2, and property fires, 13. So in the property fire category, that captures structure fires, wildland fires. The OFM has changed the way we report those. So, monthly summary of calls, as you can see, we start to get busy in June, and we were busy until November this year, with August being the busiest month due to the influx of seasonal residents. Of course. Four-year call volume comparison. So we were down on calls for 2025 as compared to 2024. But as we see, 2023 was lower yet again. So it is an up and down trend, and we do collect and monitor that data to make sure we catch any anomalies or anything that might be worth presenting to council for consideration. I will let Assistant Fire Chief Watson speak to the training division.
Thank you, Chief. As the Chief mentioned, thank you, Chief. As he mentioned, we are working towards NFPA compliance still that's mandated through the province. We had a very, very busy training year. We ran a couple of in-house courses. We sent people away to get trained. And of course, we have our weekly training, which we focus on a variety of topics to make sure that we're honing our skills. So when we do get called for an emergency, that our crews are ready. We've started to do a bit of a push for driver training as well for DZ licensed people. We noticed that there was a need to invest in some of our crew to get them licensed for these big trucks, especially the new pumper tanker that's arrived. We need to make sure that we were able to fulfill the needs with the community, which also requires the drivers. As the chief mentioned, our medical response is a fairly large portion within our actual response. So we held our EFR 40-hour course that we try to hold annually to make sure that our crew are trained for the emergencies that we have. And then we spent a significant time last summer with our in-house weekly training, preparing for structure fires and wildfires, which worked out well due to the incident later in the year. But we've focused a lot on pumping and pulling water and bringing water and all of that, those needs. But we focused within those on our regular Wednesday night. So the crew were very prepared for that incident, which was very, very beneficial for us. So the in-house, the NFPA certifications that we did, we had multiple people complete their firefighter 1 and level 2. We had people finish their NFPA 1072, which is their hazmat awareness and operations. The NFPA 1002, which is their pumper operator. And then their 1041, which is their fire instructor. 1041 is their instructor, 1021 for their officer, and then their 1033 for fire investigator. So we've really had a very busy year, like I was saying, to get some of our crew certified and not just have the certificate beside their name, but also putting it to use within the community for calls and training and everything that's involved with that. So for our weekly in-house training, we do a wide variety of topics. We spent a significant time with auto extrication, being that is a large portion of our June to September calls, as the chief mentioned, just with the influx of residents within the community. So we did see a fairly good good increase with calls during that time, and some of those being the auto extrication. It's not something that we can just cover in 1 or 2 nights. We spend approximately 4 weeks just on that topic alone. And then after that, we focus on if there's any new equipment that we've purchased, we train with, we train on, make sure that the crew is comfortable with. We do 2 weeks every quarter just specifically for medical training. So we keep those skills sharp. And then as well, we do a lot of shuttling of water and flowing of water and practice all of our skills with anything that's within the firefighter 1 and firefighter 2 standards. With the wildland fire, we held a course early in 2025. It was a large joint effort with including all 3 Frontenacs, so Frontenac, Central Frontenac, and North Frontenac, as well as Caldar Barrie. There was approximately 20 to 25 people that were in that course. It was very successful. It was a very good executed ran course. And we also included a practical portion that everybody participated in. And it was a big payoff when you have an incident like we did in the fall, where they don't just learn it, but they actually put it into place. And you can see, newer firefighters execute those skills. It was very, very good. So it was a huge joint effort, lots of positive feedback, and it was a great couple weekends.
That concludes, the overview of our, annual report. I'll take any questions at this time.
Thank you, gentlemen. Any Councilor Fowler, then Deputy Mayor.
Thank you for your presentation. Most of our calls are medical calls. Do you have certain vehicles that are set up to accommodate those types of calls and have people that are trained? Or is everybody trained in the stand area, all the vehicles or whatever is available?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, through you. So we have an all hands on deck approach. We do have 3 walk around squads that have all of our medical equipment on them. And every 98% of our firefighters and staff now are trained in full service response. They all do medical. They all can fight wildland fires. They all can do suppression. So we've by way of process, provincial legislation, Occupational Health and Safety Act, we've edged more towards a firefighter being able to provide a full service. We still have some folks that, and they're a great part of our program that do EFR only. But as of late, they are catching the firebug, if you will. So there's folks that are very interested to learn the full package.
Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, both for your presentation. And I just want to say thank you on behalf of all the constituents. Everyone I'm talking to out there, it's just your leadership and your professionalism is outstanding. So great job. One question though, could you just explain to me maybe this is for AJ, firefighter level 1 and 2, what's involved there? What's the difference?
Go ahead.
Thank you for your question. So the firefighter 1 and firefighter 2, the difference is not just a level, but firefighter 1 is specific for certain skills. It's a very large course. Off the top of my head, I'm going to say it's about 80% between firefighter 1 and firefighter 2. But once you get into firefighter 2, you're a little bit more. That's where the auto extrication comes in. It's the next step, the next higher skill set toward that certification. So it does involve the auto extrication. It does it incorporates doing reports a little bit more for, if you're in command of an incident. So it kind of teaches you and trains you to that next level with that mandated certification in order to be actual certified firefighter. It's at 1, 2, and then both of your hats.
If I may, so I'll simplify it again. So firefighter 1 teaches you what? Teaches you what to expect, what to wear, how to use what you're provided, and then the firefighter 2 teaching you how to implement. Yeah.
Councilor Haig.
Thank you both for the presentation, and it was very good. I don't have any questions regarding the presentation itself. I just want to ask about Ontario Courts, which is started, I think, in 2024. Is there any division of it in here? And if it was, what kind of coordination or cooperation? Does it fall under your jurisdiction? Is it independent? Anything that you can elaborate on?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, through you. So that's a great question, Councillor. So Ontario Corps is new. It's a new entity provided through the province. So we do have access to it through the POC, so the Provincial Emergency Operations Center, which we access through our field sector representatives from Emergency Management Ontario. So it is a resource that we do have available to us in an emergency, and we would access it through the PIA.
Thank you.
Okay, good.
I don't have no questions, just wanted to thank you for your presentation. It was good, both of you. Thank you.
So the 911 emergency call system rates calls on the basis, medical calls, I guess, on the basis of the color speed. And the response times are up to 4 hours. Some of the townships in Frontenac County are saying, well, we have our volunteer firefighters as first response. Why are we rushing to a scene if the ambulance doesn't have to be there for 2 hours? I personally don't agree with it, and I've stayed out of those conversations for now. But do you have any thoughts on this?
I do, Mr. Mayor. So we've reviewed data now that that new system's been in play for some time, so just over a year. We've received some data and feedback from the other fire departments in the KFLNA area. And as a whole, their medical responses are down. Fire department response to medicals are down 30 to 40%. But the calls that we are responding to, we're able to provide a better service to the higher acuity calls, the heart attack, shortness of breath, all of the things that are those top 2 tiers. So the Frontenac County paramedics do and are close to having a draft agreement complete for us to provide the council for consideration. I don't have a timeline on that yet, but definitely we're considering how council would like to do it moving forward.
So personally, when you're in a state where you need medical assistance, there's absolutely nothing like seeing your firefighter walk through the door, and especially if you know them. The stress level just goes. And we all decide to live in North Frontenac for a reason. But at the same time, that brings about certain, sometimes negative connotations, like the ambulance is X number of kilometers away, and that's not going to change. But to have a firefighter walk through, knowing they have some skill levels, perfect. It just helps all over. That's why I say all those conversations, I think some of it has to do with cost. You don't send the firefighters out as often, and it's a lower cost and whatever. And I know there's issues with Highway 7 and so on as well. Okay, anybody else? Corey?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment as well, and I want to echo Deputy Mayor Oodle's comments. I hear the same, the professionalism, the skill sets are amazing with our fire department. So again, I want to congratulate you guys on a job well done, and all of the firefighters and EFR people. It's a pleasure working with all of you. So thank you for your hard work.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, if I can make one more comment, I would like to, and we would like to, and we can't stress enough how much effort, dedication, and overall work that our folks put into our program. Without them, there would be no us, and without them and the hard work that they would put in, or that they do put in, I'm not sure what it would look like. So I can't stress how proud I am and we are of our folks, and every time we throw something new at them, it takes but then they get right to work and get after it. So yeah, I mean, hats off for our folks and
The real life. Okay, I noticed May 21st. Want to mention that? Fire truck, hands-on, whatever it's called.
that's in the next report.
Okay, all right. Yes, it is. They did some of the stuff. Okay, we read that resolution. Please.
Moved by Councilor Herber, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hudel. Be it resolved that council receives the Director of Emergency Services Fire Chief's Administrative Report entitled North Frontenac Fire Department Annual Report 2025 for information purposes.
In favor? Vote carried. Okay. You might want to stay right where you are, just in case. So item 11D, review of apparatus in the current fleet, new pumper tanker replacement.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Hudel, seconded by Councilor Herber. Be resolved that council receives for information the Director of Emergency Services Fire Chief's Administrative report entitled Review of Apparatus in the Current Fleet, New Puffer Tanker Placement. And the council instructs the Director of Emergency Services, Fire Chief, and Treasurer to facilitate the sale of the 2009 Seagrave pumper. And the council instructs the Director of Emergency Services, Fire Chief, to investigate options regarding a new fire master plan in 2027.
Comment? Councilor Fowler?
What do you do with the old one?
So, Mr. Mayor, through you, I've been told I have to sell it. So likely it would go on Gov Deals, and then we would have an auction for it. That would be my first, approach. But I would work with the treasurer to make sure we got the most for it that we could.
Good that if you're gonna try to get some money for it, offset the other cost. Thank you.
Anyone else? So, Fire Chief, could you tell us why the 2009 vehicle, you're putting that up for sale as opposed to the 2007? I know these vehicles have a 25-year maximum lifespan. So can you give us a little bit of information on that, please?
Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Mayor. So the 2009 Seagrave, late 2025, early 2026, had a fire pump issue whereby it would not hold water anymore. So we had it investigated and repaired. And then after the repair comes an inspection, it was further discovered that the fire pump itself is not, its integrity is compromised. So the long and short is the fire pump would need to be replaced to be considered a frontline pumper, upwards of $50,000 to replace it. So given the value that we're likely to get for the truck at its age versus the cost to replace it and put it back in service, to us, it made better financial sense to get rid of it out of the fleet.
And the capital replacement plan is structured that you could accommodate this, we have enough money in the system, or will have enough money in the system?
Mr. Mayor, I'll defer that question to our treasurer.
You knew it was coming.
So, Mr. Mayor, through you, yes, so I did put that into what our current 10-year plan is, and so everything is still funded. You know, if we looked at our horizon longer than 10 years, replacing a mini pumper is a little less expensive. So there is that by keeping a mini pumper in the fleet, but in our 10-year program right now, there is room.
Anyone else? Last question. The mini pumper that we're keeping, wanting to keep, is 2011. But you're looking to replace it in 2031. Does it not have this? Why is it being considered replacement 5 years older, 5 years sooner than a larger truck would be? Or just answer the question.
So we'll look at that when we review and do a draft capital replacement plan to make sure that we take everything into consideration, what happens with the truck between now and then, and provide council with a recommendation based on what we see at that time.
Thank you. Councilor Good?
Yes, I see it's 200,000 approximately for a new truck. And you're talking $50,000 to replace the pump on it. If with the existing vehicle itself, not the pump, what kind of shape is that vehicle in? Like, would it last past that or with less of it, or would it be too bad a shape to keep past 2030?
So, Mr. Mayor, through you, the $200,000 listed in the financial impact was the difference between a mini pumper, so a rough difference between a mini pumper and a full-size truck, not the cost. So, yeah, so just to clarify that,
What is this cost of replacing a mini pumper?
speculatively, based on conversations within the last 2 years at trade shows, between $500 and $600, depending on the truck you spec. And a new full size is $800 and upward.
That's an F-350. Essentially. With a box or equipment on the back.
550. Yeah, the chassis they use are F-550s. They're rated for 19,500 pounds, so they can accommodate most of what we need.
Okay, final call for comments?
Is that four-wheel drive?
Okay, in favor of the resolution? Carried. Thank you, gentlemen. Item 12, external committees, 12A Housing Advisory Task Force.
Moved by Councillor Hermer, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hudel. Be it resolved, the council receives for information the notes of the Housing Advisory Task Force dated April 8th, 2026.
Comments? In favor? Carried. Does anyone wish to give notice of motion? Councillor Hermer.
Yes, I'd like to put forward a notice of motion to discuss and get clarification on the circumstances surrounding the amendments to agendas under housekeeping rules.
Moved by Councillor Hermer, seconded by Councillor Fowler. Be resolved, the council receives a notice of motion from Councillor Hermer regarding the rules around housekeeping with respect to bylaws, and the council will discuss this at the May 21st, 2026 meeting.
So all we're voting on now is whether or not we're going to discuss it at the next meeting. In favor? Carried. Okay, I would like to relinquish the chair for a few minutes to Deputy Mayor. I'd like to table a motion as well.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Thank you. Alto, I'm concerned that the amount of interest within population, these people I talk to, recently, no one's talking about this. If it comes north, through North Frontenac, it will have major impacts on us. And I think we should be more aware. So I'm suggesting that council discuss the next meeting, asking staff to prepare a strategy to ensure North Frontenac residents remain informed and are prepared to structure organized opposition as if necessary. Let's take opposition out of the response, organized response, as necessary.
Moved by Mayor Litkey, seconded by Councillor Fowler. Be resolved, the council receives a notice of motion from the mayor requesting staff prepare a strategy to ensure North Frontenac residents remain informed, and the township is prepared to structure an organized response as and if necessary. And the council will discuss this matter at the May 21st, 2026 meeting.
Any comments on that resolution? I just have one comment. So this is being discussed in our environmental task force. We're discussing in the committee, so maybe we can piggyback on. All in favor?
Well, hang on, I want to make some.
Go ahead, Mr. Mayor.
The mayor of South Frontenac and some others did meet with some of the MPs on this, and they have a plan and they're pushing this forward. This is not some, well, it may not happen, it may happen. But this government is pushing this forward. But yes, it's only going to be 200 feet wide, but to get to that 200 feet could be absolutely devastating to a place like us. Okay.
Councilor Hodge?
Just a small comment, and I've heard from reliable sources that there might be a stop in Kingston. So all of this might not, in the coming month, couple of weeks, there might be an announcement that they're adding a stop in Kingston.
Mr. Mayor?
And on my information, they're looking at that. But Toronto, Peterborough, Ottawa, those are set. So whether that train can do this and go back, it will remains to be seen. Because they say they're looking at it, but it's not certain a done deal.
They're adding second stop in Toronto too. They just announced yesterday. Any other comments? All in favor? Carried. I'll hand it back for you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. We have no motions, written notice of which has been given previously. That brings us to our verbal reports. So the mayor's first. So April 15th, we had a county council meeting. April 17th, attended the North Frontenac Business Dinner. It was really well done and it was well attended. Nice to be part of it. April the 20th, attended the candidate information session for potential members of council in Charlotte Lake. Guest speakers were Kelly Pender, the previous CAO of the county, and David Mundy, who's a representative from Cunningham and Swan. It was really interesting what they were talking about. It was fairly well attended, but you had representatives there from all three townships. Last Saturday, April 25th, I attended the Ottawa Outdoor and Adventure Travel Show. North Frontenac and Central Frontenac had a double booth, and they worked at this lightly. It was really well done. Lots of action. Loons Hall Campground from North Frontenac was down 2 or 3 booths. Right around the corner was the New York State Tourism booth. Wasn't a lot of people in front of it, surprisingly. And on the next aisle over, there was the Rideau Valley Hiking Association or something. When I was there, I got there about 1, and they were almost out of certain brochures. It had been that active. I don't know what happened on Sunday, but Saturday was certainly well attended, and I think it's well worth our investment. So thanks to everybody who participated in that, because they're all volunteers. Monday, April 27th, attended a committee of adjustment meeting because we wanted to hear what MVCA was saying about their extended responsibility. That was interesting. Long meeting though. 29th, that was Wednesday, participated in the Frontenac Municipal Service Corporation's Board of Directors meeting. There's information sessions coming up in Fairmont Home on June 16th. There'll be 2 of them, 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. Those should be interesting. In July, Minister Flack, the Minister of Housing, and Mr. McCarthy, or Minister McCarthy from Environment, Conservation Parks, and whatever that is. They were both in attendance. We're going to start at the county office. We're going to run through the project at Verona and then take them up to Charlotte Lake and look through that project, see where that's at, so they can see what can be done We're still looking for them to reduce the timelines for approval. It's a very difficult, thing for them to do because of all the legalities involved, but we're going to keep trying. And then we'll give them some refreshments and send them on their way, hopefully with positive results. Yesterday, I had a Zoom call with Kingston Frontenac Housing and Homelessness consultants. As we know, Kingston is our service manager for delivering affordable housing and social housing and so on. And all the major municipalities, or all the service managers are mandated to have a housing and homelessness plan. So the consultant was Beam Consulting out of Toronto. It was a really good discussion. So we'll see where that leads. And on May the 8th, so next Friday, we have a counselors from Ward 2, and myself and Corey, I believe, are attending, and Darwin are attending a session in Smith Falls, but hosted by John Jordan. Doug Ford will be there, and that's to provide us or announce their $1 million grant so that we can rebuild downtown Darwin. It's the official enough. So that's kind of exciting too. And that's the health and safety water stream supported by the Ministry of Infrastructure. Okay. Who we got next? Wayne, Councilor Good. Councilor Haig,
Nothing at the moment.
Deputy Mayor.
We had a MVCA board meeting a couple of weeks ago where we had the elections of the executive. I was nominated for chair and I accepted the nomination for chair, so I'll be chair of the MVCA at least until February 1st, 2027. Also, we had to go through the election for the transition team as we go to the Regional Conservation Authority. So Sally and I were both appointed to that transition team. And I think we start work on that in the summer. And just on for the other note, auditor looked at the finances and everything was approved in normal with the embassy.
Same for FMSC. Who we got next? Councilor Herman?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Fowler?
Yes, thank you. The Eastern Ontario Trails Alliance, we had a meeting on the April 9th. And we'll have another one in June. And what we're discussing is agreements, dinner type agreements between the EOTA and other clubs. And also we're speaking about and pushing the idea of having a one-pass system. And the sooner it happens, I think it'll solve a lot of other problems. Seniors and law enforcement together. 24th of April, we did a presentation in Charbot Lake at the Ossel Hall, and the topic was rules of the road. It was a very interesting and informative presentation. Our next presentation is going to be at Snow Road Station at the schoolhouse June 8th at 11 a.m. and the topic will be holistic health. With the Frontenac OPP Police Board, received information from the Inspectorate of Policing. Ryan Technier, he's the Inspector General of the Police in Ontario. He appointed the Honorable William Hogan as an inspector under the Committee for Safety and Policing. Our next meeting will be June 18th in Charbot Lake, Canada.
There's one thing that I wanted to ask, and I should have asked you when Deputy Mayor was talking about MVCA. Do we have to extend your appointment to MVCA as a township?
So under the Conservation Act, I am the chair until February 1st, unless the township decides that we have an election coming up in October. So I can still be the chair even if I didn't get elected, if I go forward to run. Or the township can decide, no, you're not on council, we're going to appoint somebody else. But the act allows me to stay on until February 1st.
As long as we don't do something dumb, we're good to go. Thanks. Okay. That brings us to the public forum. And I want to reiterate, we're looking for comments. If those comments involve questions about clarification, that sort of thing, that's okay. But they have to be directly related. We don't want you going down here. This is what this is for. What we discussed today. So do we have anybody online, Kelly?
Give me 1 minute. If anyone is online and wishes to speak, please use the raise hand feature. I'm not seeing any.
Anyone in the council chamber wishes to make a comment? Please come forward. Jim?
Good morning. This is just regarding the Lakelands Family Health Team and medical services. How is that being disseminated to the public generally? The information that's going to be mailed to taxpayers. I think there's kind of an unknown about this in the general Lake areas.
We don't typically do that. It's just that we want to make sure that there is a full complement of doctors in Northbrook. We've never been asked. The other teams that service the eastern side of North Frontenac, from out of Lanark and Charlotte Lake, we have never been approached by them for any support. But we do support the MRI machine that went in was installed, and the one in Napa needs to try to balance it. But Corey, do we make I don't know, do we make an announcement that we're doing here?
I don't, in the past, we have, I don't think we've put that out, but I think I can ask Janice if she could do some educational material that could go out. For sure.
Perhaps even in tax notices, there's some general broader public information that public services are now more available and where they can go with it.
Good idea. Thank you for bringing it forward. Anyone else? Okay. We're going to take a 5-minute break and we are going to, oh, sorry, we have to do no, we're good to go. We're going to take a 5-minute break and then we're going to move into a closed session. Councilor Fowler. We're just at the public forum. We're at item 17. Next session is the close. I didn't sit. I'm sorry. Okay. My apologies. Thank you, Councilor Fowler. Where were you? Same place I was.
No, it's getting moved by moved by Deputy Mayor Fiddle, second by Councillor Hermer. Be resolved that leave be given to the mover to introduce the following bylaw that has been circulated to all members of council. Bylaw 2026-30 to adopt a community improvement plan. And that this bylaw be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed.
Final comments on this one? In favor? Carried. Now we'll take a 5-minute break and move us into closed session. Yes.
Moved by Councillor Hermer, seconded by Deputy Mayor Hudel. Be it resolved that council retires to closed session at 10:30 a.m. to adopt minutes of a closed session held April 10th, 2026, to discuss requests under the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, to receive advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose, and to discuss a personal matter about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees.
Comment? In favor? Carried. Be back at 10:35, folks. We have to clear the council chamber though.
Okay, thank you. Back item 19, rise and report, where we were in closed session, where we adopted minutes of closed session held April 10th. We discussed requests under the Municipal Freedom of Information and Protection Privacy Act. We received advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose. And we discussed personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal and local board employees. That's it. Item 20.
Moved by Councillor Fowler, second by Councillor Farmer. Be it resolved that bylaw 2026-31, being a bylaw to confirm all actions and proceedings of the council for its regular meeting held May 1st, 2026, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed.
Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Item 21, adjournment of meeting.
Moved by Counselor Harmer, seconded by Counselor Fowler. Be it resolved that council adjourns the meeting at 11:22 a.m. until May 21st, 2026, or at the call of the chair.
Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you, everyone.